Deputy? You know, I think I've seen that kid before, and I think he lives way down the street.
I do, but I'm just so used to letting him go out there and play. I've never had an issue.
Yeah, we'll be right up there at the end of a second.
I'll talk to you in a second.
I'm in Palm Coast, Florida, and this one is February 2021. Right away, you can feel why calls involving little kids hit different. When it's an adult acting reckless, you can slow it down and sort it out. When it's a toddler out in the world, you do not get that luxury. Every second matters, and the officer has to think about traffic, strangers, animals, water, all of it. What I'm watching for in footage like this is how quickly the scene gets controlled without making it worse. Who's gathering information? Who's keeping eyes on the child? Who's knocking doors and building a timeline? These are the moments where policing looks less like action movie stuff and more like steady pressure and calm decision-making under stress. And right now this topic matters because Florida keeps putting more emphasis on child safety and faster intervention in neglect situations. That means these officers are not just reacting, they're documenting. They're making sure the next steps are solid because the stakes are a kid's life. We're going to run this together in real time. If you want more body cam reactions from the officer's side, hit subscribe and stay with me.
Street that way, nobody knows.
You guys haven't seen him in the neighborhood before?
No.
You don't know where he might live?
I've never seen him either.
Not,
The dog's more
answering,
nervous.
offering up a name or any
Hey,
attachments.
buddy. Hey. What you got? You got sticks? So you saw him first, or who saw him first?
The guy left.
But you drove by after the fact? and saw
Yeah, he
him?
pulled up and he's like, we're like, who's this? We're like, we don't know who this kid is. So then we thought maybe it was somebody over here, so we knocked on there.
The first thing that jumps out at me is how fast the neighborhood uncertainty turns into an officer problem. Nobody knows this kid. Nobody knows the dog. That is a worst case start, because now the officer has to treat every house and every adult nearby as an unknown variable. And this is where people forget what child found wandering really means in Florida. This is not just a welfare check. This is a clock. The longer the kid is out, the more it starts looking like neglect, and the more CPS and the criminal side get pulled in together. Palm Coast has dealt with enough of these that officers know the paperwork and the timeline matter as much as the rescue. I also noticed the officer going gentle and low energy with the child. That is on purpose. At 3 years old, you are not interviewing, you are stabilizing. Now I'm waiting to see who shows up first. Grandma, Mom, or nobody.
Do you know how old you are?
Hey, Deputy. You know, I think I've seen that kid before, and I think he lives way down the street.
Do you know what the house looks like or anything like that?
No, because I think I've seen him out with some other people's kids.
Okay.
Because my son lives over on Beverly.
Okay, so you think somewhere down past the
I
cul-de-sac?
think down past the cul-de-sac.
Okay, I
But
appreciate
that's
it, guys.
only a wag.
Okay.
You know what a wag is, right?
No,
Wild guess.
you're good.
That's what I think
we'll
it
figure
is.
it out. If anything, we're gonna end up calling DCF.
Well, he said
but
the dog's
I'm gonna wait
too.
for another deputy, and we'll start knocking on some doors and
because
figure it out.
I mean, I don't know.
Do you live here?
I live here.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's
We knocked on their door to see if it was their kid and dog.
And like
Hi,
I
buddy.
see, as soon as someone goes
All right.
What you got? Hello.
Boy,
Is he?
He got out through a gate.
Okay, where do you guys live?
She lives down there.
What's the address? What's the address?
I don't. 6. I think it's 6. I could be wrong.
6 what? Beechwood?
Yes. She's down there. She's pregnant. She's freaking out.
Is it 38?
I think it might. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, that's our dog. That's her dog. too.
214 Fogger.
She just went out to check
I'm out
on
with the
him because he
grandparent
plays
at
in the
1
backyard. It's
Beechwood.
all fenced in. Apparently, the dog has done a hole under the fence, and that's how he got out.
He was in the back?
Yeah.
Do you live there too, or you just help him
I'm the
look?
grandmother. She just called me. That's why I was rushed over here.
Okay.
No, you ain't going nowhere. You stay right here.
Thank you, guys.
Oh man, here comes the messy part. The neighborhood telephone game. You can feel the officer trying to build a map out of half memories and wild guesses while keeping the kid close and calm. That is a real skill because every new "I think he lives" can send you in the wrong direction and burn minutes you do not have. And when grandma rolls up, that changes the whole temperature. In Florida, these cases almost always split into 2 tracks fast: immediate safety for the child and then accountability for the caregiver. CPS in this state is going to want basics locked down: how long unsupervised, how the child got out, who was responsible at that moment. The dog dug under the fence explanation might be true, but it also shows a supervision gap. I like the officer holding the scene and waiting for another unit. That is how you keep control when emotions start flooding in.
Our fence is, we have a fence.
You realize it's been probably at least 45 minutes by now?
Are you serious?
Yeah, it's been at least 45 minutes.
I let him go out there all the time.
You still got to keep your eye on him and
I
check
know,
on him. I mean, and that's being easy. It's probably really going closer to an hour.
Oh my God.
What? Do you not like check on him every so often?
I do, but I'm just so used to letting him go out there and play. I've never had an issue.
That's just a very long time for no supervision at all. I mean, 50 minutes to an hour in the backyard, there's snakes that get through the fences. I mean, obviously the fence isn't secure. The kid got through. I mean, I'm just glad he's okay.
Right.
He's perfectly fine. The dog, thankfully the dog's very protective, and the dog...
And there it is, that gut drop when mom realizes the clock is not on her side. You can hear how fast this goes from panic to damage control, and the officer is staying calm because he has to pin down a timeline that will stand up later. In Florida, a wandering 3-year-old is not treated like a simple oops. It kicks open a whole child welfare lane, and by the time mom gets to the scene, the case is already forming around supervision and risk factors. Palm Coast cops see this pattern a lot. A fence and a familiar dog do not cancel out water hazards, traffic, and wildlife in these neighborhoods. What hits me is the officer keeping it human but firm. He is not taking the bait on excuses. He is documenting decisions. And in this specific 2021 Palm Coast incident, the mother, Tessie Clark, ends up arrested for child neglect. That is the accountability track catching up in real time.
I started cleaning, and I went out there to check on him. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it had been a little bit, but we let him go out there all the time and play, you know? And I called his name, I didn't hear him, he didn't say anything. So I walked back out there to look, and I seen that the panel on this side of the gate had been knocked out, and he had gotten out, so I started walking down the road to try and find him. And then that's when he was down the road, so I stopped and talked to him. But that's it, like.
Okay. Who do you live here with?
My fiance and my other 2 kids.
Okay.
But none of them are here. He's at work and my other kids are at school.
Okay. About how long do you think he was outside for?
It didn't seem like that long to me, but he said he was probably gone for like 45 minutes. So, I'm not sure.
Yeah, if you had to give an approximate time, it's 1:54 now. What time did you let him go outside when you started cleaning or doing whatever you were?
Probably like around 1.
Okay.
It's like I say, he goes back there all the time, plays, and don't go nowhere.
Listen to how the story keeps shrinking as the questions get more precise. That is not the officer being cold, that is him building clarity, because in a child neglect call, the details decide what happens next. And here's the piece a lot of people miss. Florida does not need a kid to be hurt for this to turn criminal. The standard is risk, and a 3-year-old outside the home perimeter is pure risk. This is exactly why agencies like Palm Coast PD lean so hard on timestamps and who was physically present, because CPS is going to ask the same questions and the answers have to match. Also, that gate panel detail matters. A broken barrier turns this into a foreseeable hazard, not a freak accident. And mom juggling work, school, and cleaning might be real-life pressure, but it does not change the duty. That is the brutal part of these calls.
Like, say he's out there for an hour, how many times did you check on him within that hour if he was out there?
Me? I'm up, I'm moving all the time, so I'm always checking on him. 100 times, you know, like I always keep an eye on my kid.
Okay.
Again, she works.
Right.
Again, she works, so I don't know. I'm at work. Like I was just cutting grass.
What time did you leave for work today?
7 o'clock or so.
So earlier this
6:30,
morning?
Oh yeah, early.
Okay.
So he's up in the morning though. I mean,
Right.
he gets up. I usually make him something to eat, you know, and I'm, hey,
Right.
love you, bye. Make sure the front door's locked, pull it shut, because it doesn't shut all the way real easy. So like I make sure I shut the sumbitch real good. We got that thing because again, he about 3 or 4 days ago learned how to
Open.
and use his weight and opened it up. And I was like, hey, where are you going? You know.
I gotcha.
But yeah, my 5-year-old wants to go out this damn window, and we told him 100 times. So we have a neighbor that has a little dog walks around here, and he's like, hey, I just wanted to let you know. And this was a week ago. He's like, he keeps coming out the window, and the thing is, he'll open it, but then he wants to try to shut it from the outside. Doesn't shut all the way. Leaves a crack. Well, then Tucker wants to try to go over there and try to lift it up, and I'm like,
I gotcha.
yeah.
Okay, this is where the call gets even more complicated because dad shows up and he is not just a witness, he is a second lane of responsibility, and the officer has to hear him out without letting it turn into a blame game on the curb. What hits me is how fast the focus shifts from the kid to the house mechanics. Doors that do not latch right, kids learning how to defeat basic barriers, windows becoming exits. In Florida, these details matter because CPS is going to look at whether the adults knew the risk and kept living with it anyway. That is a different category than a one-time fluke. And you can feel the officer staying steady here. He is letting Dad talk, but he is still pulling a timeline around work schedules and who is actually supervising. Two parents can both love that child and still leave a gap big enough for a 3-year-old to walk out into the street.
Did you work last night?
She works pretty much every night. She's a manager at Wendy's. So,
Okay.
Yeah, I had my first son when I was 19 years old, and I don't get to see the mother. And I pay child support and everything else on him. That's pretty up. You know what I mean? And sorry about the profanity.
Listen, I understand. I get
that's
it.
what it is. I have no love, no nothing for people in general. And I know you guys got to do a job.
Listen,
if DCF comes to my house, I'm going to tell them to go themselves. What I'm going to tell them. If I got to pack my kids up and leave to another state because of this, that's what I'll do.
Well,
because
listen,
I take care of my kids. Nah, that.
Listen, I understand that.
I know,
I'm not
saying
placing blame on anybody like that. I am like, I mean, we
I've
do
been
have to
through
do a
lot.
DCF notification.
Yeah, that's fine.
Like
you
I said,
guys do
I
what you gotta do.
I want to
Like
be
said,
upfront
I wasn't
with you.
here. I'm a good father. I know what I'm doing. I've raised 3 of them on my own. My dad passed away when I was 19, so I ain't got nothing else to say. Like I said, if they need to come here, I'll tell them to get off my property, and they got a problem with it, I'll leave the state, whatever. I'll go get another place.
Listen, I get it. I understand your frustration. Again,
yeah,
I'm just asking you.
I don't know what happened with my kids down the road, and when I show up after work, that's if you know.
I'd be upset too. I get it. You're a parent.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, and then to sit here and have to do this is what I'm.
Right. Like I said, I'm only asking these questions just to kind of figure out.
Because
I already asked her a
you,
few.
I told you, and that's it. I don't know what she told you. I don't know what she was doing in there, but like I said, whatever has to be done has to be done. But I ain't losing no more kids. A female took my kid from me, like I said.
All right. So Tessie, essentially, you are gonna be placed under arrest today. Okay.
Oh my God, for what?
This is for child neglect. All right. So do me a favor.
I've never even been to jail.
How far along are you?
I'm like 13 weeks.
13 weeks. Okay. All right. You've been cooperative with me so far. Do you want me to cuff you in the front? Are you okay with that? So I do have to cuff you. So are you okay with the front? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Just put your hands together, just like this. There you go.
Can I go call my mom?
Say that again.
Can I call my mom?
We'll try and figure out something. Okay? We'll make sure that do you have anything on you in your pockets?
No.
Alright, I'm gonna walk you to my patrol vehicle over here, okay?
Can I talk to him right?
Well, I'll let him come talk to you in a second, okay? We're gonna go on to the passenger side. You said nothing on you at all, no keys, wallet, anything like that? Okay. Yeah, we'll be right up there at the end of a
I'll
second.
talk to you in a second. You probably don't want the kid out here for this. I'm not leaving. I'm going to be here for a while. I'll talk to you in a minute, all right?
Go ahead and have a seat. Put your bottom in first and then just watch your head, okay? There you go. Alright, I'll roll the window down for you just a second.
Adult female 1015. All right, I'll go entertain him. Do you... I'm thinking about calling... I want to call DCF right now.
Okay.
And see if they'll come out right now. Yeah, I will. Alright. Like I said, I'm not leaving. I'm going to be here for a long time. I got you.
He's just FYI, let DCF know that he's talking about if DCF comes. You heard him.
Yeah.
And he said he's going to leave the state. I guess they have 2 kids that are at school right now.
Right here at the finish, you can feel the air change. The talking stops being venting, and it becomes decision time. The officer is done collecting the puzzle pieces, and now he has to do the part nobody likes, but everybody expects when a toddler is out loose in a neighborhood. What stands out to me is how controlled this arrest is. There is no chest puffing. There is no extra heat. The officer is still talking to her like a human being while he is putting her in cuffs. Front cuffing gets offered because she is pregnant and cooperative, and that matters. That is a small thing that tells you a lot about mindset. He is not trying to punish her on the curb. He is trying to close out a neglect investigation without creating a bigger medical problem or a bigger scene. And you can hear it in her reaction too. She is shocked, not angry like she wants to fight. More like she cannot believe the system is about to put a label on this moment. That is what a lot of people miss. In these calls, the officers are not just reacting to a scared parent. They are reacting to the risk that already happened out in public, where cars drive and strangers exist and accidents do not ask permission. Dad is in the background basically boiling. He is dropping that line about having no love for people, and you can tell he is in that protective mode where everything feels like an attack on his family. But the officer has to hear the threat inside the frustration. When someone says they will tell child services to get off their property or they will leave the state, that is not just a spicy comment. That is a big red flag for follow-up. Not because the officer is trying to control the family, but because child welfare cases do not end when the handcuffs click. They continue. They require contact. They require plans. They require compliance. And the officer is already thinking ahead to what tomorrow looks like for these kids. This is the part where community responsibility actually shows up in a real way. The neighborhood found a child and did the right thing calling it in. That is the bright spot. But it also exposes the darker truth. It only takes one time. One gap. One door. One distracted hour, and the entire block is suddenly part of your family crisis. That is why these cases hit so hard. It is not a dramatic crime scene. It is a normal day that goes sideways, and it forces law enforcement to be the adult in the room for everybody. Going forward, this is not just about mom getting arrested. It is about what happens after the cruiser door closes. Now you have custody questions, you have the other kids at school, you have a newborn on the way, you have DCF stepping in and deciding what safety plan looks like, and whether anybody in that home can actually keep a 3-year-old contained. And that is where people get mad at police because they want police to be therapists, they want police to be social workers. But police are the first stop when the danger is immediate and the public risk is already real. My overall take after watching all of it is this. The officers keep their tempo steady from the first contact all the way to the end. They are not guessing. They are not freelancing. They are gathering names and timelines and supervision facts, and they are doing it while a family is emotional and defensive and talking over each other. That is work. That is patience under stress. And to the parents watching this is the warning you do not get twice. Toddlers do not rise to the level of your intentions. They rise to the level of your barriers. If something in your home is beatable by a 3-year-old, it is not a barrier, it is a suggestion. If you want another one that will make your jaw tighten, I have a recommended video where officers roll up on a mom in a hotel situation and the kids are left alone. Different setting, same gut punch. Watch that next and tell me if you still think these calls are easy.